bad, love them homeland. We'll never give it up to another nation. This happy we with a fear. Nobody give it to no Guatemala. Follow me now. This happy we with a fear. Nobody give it to no Guatemala. This time me name is Pupa. Belize me come from the Belize city area. 110% Belize and proud of it. So don't tell me patriots. All people who love them country bad, bad, love them homeland. We'll never give it up to another nation. This happy we with a fear. Nobody give it to no Guatemala. Follow me now. This happy we with a fear. Nobody give it to no Guatemala. This time me name is Pupa. Belize me come from the Belize city area. 110% Belize and proud of it. So don't tell me patriots. All people who love them country bad, bad, love them homeland. We'll never give it up to another nation. This happy we with a fear. Nobody give it to no Guatemala. Follow me now. This happy we with a fear. Nobody give it to no Guatemala. This time me name is Pupa. Belize me come from the Belize city area. 110% Belize and proud of it. So don't tell me patriots. All people who love them country bad, bad, love them homeland. We'll never give it up to another nation. This happy we with a fear. Nobody give it to no Guatemala. Follow me now. This happy we with a fear. Nobody give it to no Guatemala. This time me name is Pupa. Belize me come from the Belize city area. 110% Belize.
For 2019, we are having a collective Skype this morning. I am Yaya Maureen Coleman. This is Sunday Review. We are only online. So you can get us on your local CREM TV channel only at this time. And then we will work out how others can listen and tune in. So it's the 19th edition, the 14th edition of Sunday Review, and today is the 14th of April, 2020. I'm your host, Yaya Maureen Coleman. Our co-host this morning is Ellen Sue Joseph. Good morning, Ellen.
Grand Rising, Buitu Nafi.
Apologies for the late start. We're working out technical difficulties. Thank you so much, Christy. Flowers, who is our Master Chief Operator at CREM Television. This morning will be the first of many future Sunday Review Belize Community COVID-19 reports. We have with us on this Skype 5 other people from around the country of Belize who are going to be sharing with us what their experiences are from their communities during the COVID-19 pandemic in Belize. So I'll have people introduce themselves. I'll start from the north of the country. Up front, I'm going to apologize that it's my error that I don't have a representative from the Kaya district. I will improve on that as we go forward. So people from the Kaya district, I'm aware that we don't have that representation and that will be changed in the future. So starting from the north, in the Corozal district, we have Ruth Showman. Good morning, Ruth.
Good morning. Morning, everybody.
And then from Kikocker, we have Wendy Oxalu. Good morning, Wendy.
Good morning, Yaya, and all your listeners. It's nice to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Respect. And then from the south, and we'll go to Dangriga, we have Jamal Swazo.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for doing it. Hi.
And then further south, the richest district in the country, we have our sister Naomi Laura Pop. Good morning, Naomi. Naomi? I know she's on. We're just waiting for her to join us in this conversation. All right. So we'll go ahead while we wait for Naomi to get in on this conversation. And so the purpose of this format, and this may be the format for the duration of the COVID-19, we'll see how it works out, is because we recognize that there's not a singular space, at least to our knowledge, in Belize where Belizeans at home and abroad may go to a space and share information about what's happening in their communities, to ask questions, and to identify the gaps between the services that the state is offering and the services that many Belizeans, salute to Belizeans on the ground, who saw a need in their community and chose to organize based on their own initiative. So we'll start off with, I will start in the South. I'm waiting for, Naomi, are you there? Can anyone see Naomi to see that she's
Can't see
logged in?
Naomi.
You don't see her.
No.
Okay, this
I
is a
guess
new
it's a
format.
internet issue.
All right, it may be an internet issue. We'll work out the kinks. And so let me go ahead and ask Jamal. Jamal, can you tell us a little bit about yourself as a youth in Dangriga who organizes, and share with us what you know is happening on the ground, and if you can identify exactly where the community is, like the street where you live on in Dangriga, so we can get a feel of what people in Dangriga are experiencing during the COVID-19 pandemic in Belize.
Good day. My name is Jamal Suwas. I'm from Dangriga. And in Dangriga right now, we are dealing with the COVID in terms of it's a struggle for us because many of the individuals are not used to the restrictions, the law restrictions, and the restriction of movement. And being we have that restriction of movement, people are having a challenge to feed themselves, and they are have to become dependent on the government for safe food. And many of them do not like that situation to be placed in that situation. But there are many organizers like community-based people who are doing community work to eat people to during this time. And that is very much welcome as well. We have the Ministry of Human Rights.
Okay, the audio is not clear right now. I'm not hearing you, Jamal.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you better now. Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, the audio is not the best, Jamal. I'm hearing static. Okay, I'm not hearing you at all, Jamal. So let me go to Wendy. I'll come back to you, Jamal, and see there's a possibility that the audio may be impacted. We're going on the strength of the internet, and it could be because so many of us are on at the same time. So there's a possibility that some of us may need to log out and then come back on within other half-hour segments. Since during this first half hour, we're having some challenges. But we'll move forward for the next 8 minutes or so. Wendy, what's happening in Keycocker? Tell us a little bit about yourself as an organizer in Keycocker, and share with us some of the realities for people living in Keycocker presently.
Good morning, and Yaya and all the listeners. I'm reporting from beautiful Keycocker. I have to tell you, Yaya, if I had to go through a COVID crisis with anybody, anywhere in the world, if I could choose where I could, go through this crisis, it would be right here in my home village of Keycocker. I was born and raised here. I have about 5 generations of, ancestors that grew up on this island, and so this is my home. And I've always known this island to be a resilient island. We've endured hurricanes, Category 5 hurricanes, just you name it, we've endured it here on this island, and we're still standing. So, yes, I really do believe that this is a great place to, if you have to deal with this, this is a good place to do it. Here,
What's your feel on the ground? Are people still in need of certain services? Is it that you get the vibes that most people are getting food consistently, and then there's something else that they need that they're not getting consistently?
the reaction to this whole COVID crisis on Keycocker has been exemplary. To me, I think it should be a model for communities in the rest of the world because we have just handled it so beautifully. Our response has been timely, relevant, compassionate, inclusive, and it just makes my heart full. Long before, there's no one, just to answer your question in a nutshell, there's no reason why anyone on this island needs to go hungry. We have, at this moment, we have 3 soup kitchens operating. They're open every day. They serve 1 meal a day, but they're, what should I say? They're full-size meals. They're not like little skimpy meals. And I think the last report I had from just one of those soup kitchens was that they had fed 300 people just yesterday, I believe. And that's just one. We have three of those going. That's just one initiative, or those soup kitchens are just one initiative. But long before there was the first confirmed case in the country, I was reading the news and just, just taking in how other countries in Europe in particular were handling this crisis. And I knew one day that it would come to our shores. So at that point, I began researching how other communities were dealing with this. And what I discovered is that when everyone chipped in to form a food pantry to serve the needs of the underserved in the community, that those communities worked out, better. They had less chaos, basically. If you can imagine, the worst crisis that any community could have is to have hungry people going hungry. So that's the first thing you need to eliminate. It's that hunger faction. And this is a community that the economy depends on tourism. So it was one of the first communities to be shut down from the crisis. Even long before there was a confirmed case, our tourism had already dropped. But based on the information that I had, read online, I decided to go out and start what I call a COVID assistance team to request donations of food items from anybody, from a coalition of the willing, really. And it started off with people getting donations, with us getting donations of the staples, and that ballooned into, once it became more of a crisis, that ballooned into other sectors of the community, starting up these soup kitchens. And in terms of food security on this island right now, I think our needs are being served fully.
Are there any other services that are being provided? Are there people on the island who are not from Keycaulker that may need assistance? Or what are some of the gaps that you can identify, or are there gaps?
The biggest, right now, I can't think of, the biggest gap would be housing insecurity, basically, not necessarily food security, because we're supplying 100%. No one on this island is going to go to sleep at night without at least having one meal. It might not be 3 meals, but they'll have one full meal. And to me, that is heartwarming. But apart from that, there's always the worry of people who are renting, that once this crisis is over, that their landlords are going to begin eviction proceedings against them. Because the large majority of the people who live on this island were, I don't want to call them transient, they're all Belizeans, but they're workers that come here from different parts of the country that come to work in the tourism sector. Once that was demolished, then those people basically left to go back to their own home communities. So what we're left with here on this island right now are just what I call the core Picaqueños, the people who actually really, this is their home. They live here and they've probably lived here for generations. And this includes not just local, born Belizeans, but imported Belizeans as well, who've come to call this place their home.
Respect. Thanks for that report. That's when the Auxiliary reporting from Keycaulker in Belize about the realities of Keycaulker residents and other Belizeans who are on that island during the COVID-19 pandemic. Jamal, are you able to rejoin us in conversation?
Give me a second, please.
No problem. Naomi, are you there? Naomi? Can you all hear Naomi? Are you hearing us? No. Okay, so let me get Ruth Showman from Corozal to share her knowledge about what's happening on the ground in her community as an organizer during the COVID-19 pandemic. Ruth?
Thank you, Yaya, for this opportunity because I think knowledge is very, very important. We need to know what's going on. And Corozal is a bit unique because we're a border town. And one of the most impacting scenes, I think, for the community is seeing the hotel that is being used to quarantine right in the center of town, and the constant reminder of these BDFs and police guarding this hotel is a reminder of our reality. We wake up every morning to see that. There is this need um, of food, which is an immediate need. I can understand that Key Cocker being a small and isolated community, it would be easier to reach out to everybody. But when you have a widespread area where there are people residing in remote areas behind cane fields, it's difficult to reach out to everybody. I am aware of a couple soup kitchens going on, organized either by churches, but there's nothing to say anything organized to reach out to everybody. Um, the cries of our people, especially last weekend, were just too much for us to bear. And that is what triggered myself and Dr. Vasquez to come together and reach out to our friends and start a 1 pound drive. So we decided to try and reach out to our community because we know that Corozal on a whole has been severely impacted financially because a lot of our working population depends on the free zone, and the free zone was shut down. And most people working at the zone are people who uh, find it difficult to save. We live on a check by check basis. And so cutting that off immediately, put our people in a very vulnerable position. And so we decided to use kindness. We know that our people are kind. And even though we're stretching the little we have, we may not think twice to help someone who may not have anything. And so we started this 1 pound drive. If everybody could donate 1 pound of flour, 1 pound of sugar, or 1 can of something. And really that in itself exploded later on. And we got support, incredible support from all over the place. And up to today, we've been able to feed almost 180 families in 1 week. Um, Going on the ground, we realized that there are too many people not aware of the programs that the government is offering, or the inability to acquire the necessary documents or going to the internet. So there are a lot of people not getting the help. We have hungry people in Corozal. We have a lot of elderly folks who are totally abandoned, living in areas that are remote without electricity, without water, and these people are not being reached. So I believe that although, yes, as was said earlier, politicians tend to know their constituencies, I'm not seeing them out. So I'm not seeing the reaching out to these people. So we are trying to do our best. Our resources are not vast. I must thank Rosaldo that the little that has been pouring in has been constant. And so we have been able to constantly give an average of about 30 to 40 bags per day to Corozaltong and surrounding villages. But the need here in Corozal is tremendous. I spoke to some people who have been trying to access the application for the pantry program, but whenever they try to log in, they're having difficulties in that area to log in. And some of them showed me immediately, see, I'm trying to log in and immediately it tells me you don't qualify. So I'm not sure what the glitch is there. But I believe that we still need to see a better organization of assistance in Corozal. The poverty here is high, and people are literally hungry. And we did also find a lot of infants who are malnourished, who have not eaten well for the past 2 or 3 weeks, and we need to do better. And there's so much our group can do, and we wish we can do more. But we do see the need for better organization, for a better reach out because of the geographical area. You know, it's difficult to reach everybody. So it's important that organizations who have knowledge of these areas would come together and we can get better organized so we can reach out to everybody. The program that the group of us who are all just citizens, I have a housewife and a teacher, a doctor, a food vendor, you know, my students who are all volunteering, coming together to do this. But we do need to see more of it because our people are hungry. And what we put together may be enough for a week, supplies of groceries, and we're worried about what's going to happen next week and the weeks to come. One of the things we started, since there have been some who have been willing to donate money, is to reach out to the small farmers who may be losing their crop, such as beans, potatoes, onions. And the money that we have been receiving, we've been trying to reach out to these small farmers so we buy their crop to share out to the community and in a way create a little boost in a small way in the economy. So I would want to encourage those that if you're getting any monetary donations, maybe we can reach out to our small farmers, because those small farmers who depend on coming to sell in the town for twice a week, those farmers immediately lost money. And the poverty in these areas is extremely high. So we need to think outside the box and see how best within our own community we can assist each other.
Awesome report back. We're listening, viewers and listeners, to Ruth Showman. She's an educator as well as an organizer in Corozal District, which is in northern Belize, and she's just one of the organizers. And so we're asking other credible organizers, and this is a wider initiative that I'm spearheading through Sunday Review, and I'm very clear that grassroots people, the people on the ground, we have a responsibility to organize, to connect, to communicate outside of the state and outside of party politics representatives. So if there are other community leaders outside of party politics representatives, we're asking if you, for example, can contact Ruth Showman. We'll get the information out so you can know how to communicate with these people. I know Ruth, all the guests on Sunday Review this morning are on Facebook. That's how I have been communicating with them, through Messenger. And so that we could start collecting data to fill in the gaps, to ensure at minimum that every Belizean is eating, and is eating as often as they can and as healthy as they can. And so thank you so much, Ruth. So we've heard from two people so far. We've heard from extensively. We've heard from Wendy Oxaloo from Key Cocker, and we've heard from Ruth Showman from Corozal. We'll go ahead and take our first break. When we come back, I'll have our co-host Ellen Sue lead the second part of the conversation during our second segment, and she'll be having conversations with Jamal Swazo, who is a youth representative from Dangriga Town in southern Belize, in the Stan Creek district, as well as Naomi from the Toledo district. We'll take our first break and we'll be right back. Thanks for joining us.
Smart is fully prepared for the demands on our network to facilitate those working from home and for customers to continue communicate with friends and family. With the entire country at home, our team has pushed for more innovative services and promotions like our double data along with new ways of purchasing mobile services via our app and agents countrywide. Smart is proud to have dedicated staff working from home as well as out in the field to keep communication flowing. Customers can also follow our online fitness, science, comedy, and other great segments to continue being active at home. Smart has also sponsored the Ministry of Health free hotline, along with gifting all our frontline medical personnel a prepaid number with $50 credit to stay in contact in these times. Be assured we are with you and look out for more weekly promotions on SMS, voice, and data. Be smart and be safe.
If you want to help save the world, sneeze into your elbow.
When you bank your way, it's amazing how much time you have to enjoy the more important things in life. You have time for priceless moments, time to indulge, time to unwind, time to take in the view, time to make memories. Use any of these services and have time for the things that matter most. Bank your way and enjoy the convenience. Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Be the hero the world needs right now. Wash your hands.
Your Belize City Council continues to work towards building a safer, healthier, and more efficient society for all residents to enjoy. The latest modification we've made is the installation of the new traffic light system at the corner of Neil Penn Road and Central American Boulevard. To ensure that the new system is risk-free for all citizens, we have prepared some traffic safety tips that should be kept in mind while traveling in the area. To our drivers, remember Neil Penn Road is now a one-way street, meaning it is illegal to turn left onto Neil Penn Road from the Central American Boulevard when driving in the direction of Cesar Ridge Road. It is illegal to turn right onto Neil Penn Road from the Central American Boulevard when driving in the direction of the Belkin Bridge. The Belize City Council, always about the people.
Patriots, all people who love them country bad, love them homeland, will never give it up to another nation. This happy we with a fear. Nobody do it to no Guatemala. Follow me now. This happy we with a fear. Nobody do it to no Guatemala. This time me name is Papa. Belize me come from the Belize City area. 110% Belize and proud of it. So don't tell patriots, all people who love them country bad, love them homeland, will never give it up to another nation. This happy we with a fear. Nobody do it to no Guatemala. Follow me now. This happy we with a fear. Nobody do it to no Guatemala. This time me name is Papa. Belize me come from the Belize City area. 110% Belize and proud of it. So don't tell patriots, all people who love them country bad, love them homeland, will never give it up to another nation. This happy we with a fear. Nobody do it to no Guatemala. Follow me now. This happy we with a fear. Nobody do it to no Guatemala. This time me name is Papa. Belize me come from the Belize City area. 110% Belize and proud of it. So don't tell patriots, all people who love them country bad, love them homeland.
The review for this morning, April 19th, 2020. It's our 14th edition of Sunday Review for 2019. I am super excited when I see so many faces on the screen. Yes, thanks, Kristen Flowers, our MCO. I am so happy. We're working on it. We'll get better. Thanks for being a part of this process with us, in particular Belizeans at home and Belizeans abroad. Thank you so much. Ellen Sue is the co-host this morning. Ellen Sue, I will make way for you to lead in
Thank
this
you.
segment, please. We have online with us Jamal Swazo, a youth organizer from Dangriga, and we also have Naomi Pop from the Talita district.
Okay. Being from the south, I've been noticing that there has been a number of people distributing bananas, right?
Yeah.
And I've been hearing a lot of complaints from people that all that they're receiving is banana. What is your take on the banana outcry? Like, this is all that we're going to get.
All right, my take on the banana issue right now is that many people are indeed in the community complaining about the bananas. But many people are like, why? Some people have passed a comment like, all this while there have always been this amount of bananas growing and it has never been given to the community. Some people have passed those comments because like Dangriga has been a struggling economy for years, right? Many people at Dangriga have been struggling. So many people are asking the question, there are people in our community before COVID who have been starving, who could have made great use of this banana prior to now, right? And some are also making the statement that it's very much needed and that the community should be satisfied with this banana and that the banana could be used in many different farms to create food source and everything, and it's a good source of some to hold you up for the rest of the day. So I don't know, people have mixed reviews on the banana situation, and I don't know what would be best, but many people have mixed reviews about the banana situation.
But why do you think the problem that I notice is that people have the tendency of associating certain foods with poverty.
Yeah.
And it's like if you get if it was a shipment of ramen noodles, I think the response would have been different. Do you see that?
I believe that the shipment into say that the shipment of ramen noodles would be different. Yes. The thing
Why?
is with our community that it has been that we have not had a situation where with a so most people in our community eat well. So
Mm-hmm.
they do not know what to do with any other alternative source of food. So when that next alternative come, the banana come, like they are like, what we supposed to do this? Like how we supposed to cook this? Because all the while we have been eating canned foods, fast food,
Mm.
ramen noodles, those different type of food source because we never had the many people have never lived the life of eating from the earth, eating banana and cooking. Many people do not really know to
Mm.
cook diversely, like to create something out of that banana.
So do you think the issue is that they are associating eating directly from the ground with poverty?
There is the association, not that they do not know how to use it. It's like a habit that they already developed. Oh, just cook a noodles, put 2 egg in it and some sausage, and then that's it. There's association with different type of food. Now you bring banana that people never green banana that people weren't using prior. So let them be that need a direct food source, and they don't know. It's like a culture shock. Then like, what we supposed to do with this?
But then in the Garifuna culture, these were the food that we used to eat.
Mm,
We were healthy back then,
yeah,
consuming this. So my thing with the banana is to create this understanding, create this
yeah,
culture that eating directly from the ground is not poverty. It's
mm,
not to be something to be ashamed of. You
mm,
understand? And
mm,
saying no, where were these bananas going before they
yeah,
decided to in quotes dump them on us?
yeah,
People have to realize that nobody likes to see food waste.
yeah.
Nobody likes to see food waste. So I believe that this COVID is here to teach us a lesson that we have to go back to the old ways of how we were doing things, the community efforts in feeding ourselves, the bartering system, everybody having their own little small garden, right? So I would like that when we go back to our communities, we won't be thinking about the ships that will be coming in, but the ships that we already have in our yards. Let's go back to eating the plums and eating the mangoes and not being ashamed of preparing food at home and taking it to work, because to me, this COVID, the biggest issue is food.
Yes.
Not money. The biggest issue is food, because people only want the money because they have that buying power to go to the store to purchase something imported.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the opportunity for us now to teach one another. I've been seeing people doing some amazing things with banana. They're making banana nuggets. They're making everything and everything with bananas. Right? So I believe that we have food. It's just that we have grown to not consider these things food.
Yeah.
Where did we make that turn?
And
So
it's
as
just
a young person, sorry,
sorry.
go ahead.
It's just that like our community, many in our community, not all, like they have, because many being dependent on certain structures for like 2 generations now. We have been dependent on giving like the Western Unions and the Barrel Society that would come with these. I know that everywhere in the world that is having this impact, we're not getting what we're used to purchase our imported goods. So know that people who don't know how to use their hands to feed themselves, they it will create a challenge. But I agree with you that we indeed need to go back to the earth.
So is this the effects of one of the effects of COVID on the society is that we should stop and make some steps backwards, right?
Yeah,
Okay, I like
agreed.
that. And now with the utilities in Dangriga, what's the issue with the utilities in Dangriga? With people and their light bill and their water bills?
Well, Dangriga has been statistically we have been a struggling economy, and many people live from daily hustles, and people live from just day to day on their salaries. And it's not like we're a robust economy that we have enough saving to say that we are pay a bill this month and sacrifice food. So with many people just have a difficulty at this point for pay bills because the economy is falling apart, and it was already a bad economic situation in Dangriga. Now add this upon us, many people will have a challenge to pay utility bills, and I don't think that everyone is prepared, or even policymakers are prepared for that fact that people will not be able to pay their utilities because they have to choose either that or feed themselves.
Conservation. How about that? Will we be utilizing any methods to reduce consumption?
I know of some families who have like $12 flat rate and still struggle every month to pay because they don't have it.
But then remember, I think two of the utilities already announced that if your consumption is below a certain rate, then I think then you will be pardoned or something to that effect. So my line of question is because we are looking at the effects of COVID from an economical standpoint on
Yeah.
our society, on our area that before COVID we were in an economic crisis.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is that we just can't be pointing out what are the problems and not coming up with solutions.
The
Right?
solution would be to not being able to pay is that you can in Dangriga, what has happened is that the whole entire country and policymakers have made generalized policies that would for the entire country, not taking into consideration that Dangriga is a community by its own, right? Dangriga is a place by itself that has its own economic problems that many other places have, and many other challenges that you might not see some places. So that one of the main thing that you can the generalized policies will not really work in Dangriga. We've seen that with healthcare. We've seen that with the economic policies. We've seen that with different policies that we need to start skewing policies and plans for Dangriga specifically because we always be left out and without understanding what the community is really going through.
I get that because everybody believes that once you have a standard, that the standard should be rolled
Yeah.
out across the board. When it's not supposed to be that way. I
Yes.
get that. Okay. So we have to ensure with this COVID, especially in our small Dangriga town, just like how you have the political machinery who have the force, the power to get people out and know who all are present, right? When it's politics season, we have to use that same method to reach out to families, and we can't just be reaching out. No, I believe that this COVID is a long-term way of life that we should change to, meaning that we can't only be thinking about people now when we're in the middle of a crisis, but we're supposed to be thinking about them before anything arises so that when it's here, we know how to react. And we have to teach people how to conserve when it comes to water and electricity. We need to teach people how to feed themselves. I think those are the two major things that we have to try to understand. And
Agreed.
especially as a young person, I believe that you have become an influencer. So you have to be very careful in how you go about in expressing certain things, and you have to ensure that you are not only saying things to say, but you're actually saying things because you want to attract the people who can help you to get these things, to have them manifest. You get me?
Agreed.
So that's the mentality. So we have to change the way how we think about food. What is food? We have to learn how to conserve because we're in a situation where I believe that the politics of our nation, it won't get us anywhere at this time. Maybe in the future if they learn, but right now we are the people. We have the power, right, Miss
Uh,
Naomi? No, I'm not hearing Miss Naomi though.
Miss Naomi?
Miss Naomi, is your microphone on? Can you check if your microphone is on? I don't think Miss Naomi's microphone. We're having I think she has an internet issue. But from my observation with the COVID, especially here well, I am from Dangriga, but I live in Belize City. What I've been noticing that most of the people who are out, it's not because they're out trying to create mischief. These are the ones who were disenfranchised from before set of
Before.
COVID. So these were people who were on the street. These were people who were coming to cut your yard. These were people who were doing errands. So these people, they felt it before everybody else, before the tourism industry, because some of them used to rely on the tourism industry. So you have hair braiders, you have people who make pastries, you have people who go around buy and sell snacks and they go from places to places. So these people, they felt it before us, and I believe that the government has the statistical institute who know how many individuals reside in every household. You know the economic standing of every household. So they know why is it so difficult to reach out to the people that you know are in need. If these people had food, they will have no reason to be out on the streets.
Yeah. Right
Yes,
now in Dangriga, we have like some community people who are really active right now, like that I joined. They came together. It's just like some teachers and some public officers and just regular community personnel who are just purchasing food to fill the gap that the government has missed. And we are just finding different families and supporting them and how we can because, like you said, Dangriga has been in an economic standstill for many years. And this with this COVID-19 impact and the restriction and movement, it has only added to that difficulties even making a little bit of money. that people would survive on. So we indeed need something to be done to help our people here, and the people have to start to believe that they could help themselves, because one thing
Correct.
that had to come out of this is that after this, people will become dependent on government subsidies and government handouts, because we don't want a society that will be a dependent society, because that won't fit well for us in the long term.
It's just a shift, I believe, that we have to be open to the shift, the COVID shift.
Mm.
We have to realize that what happens now if we can't get the same imports for the next probably 6 months? We will be forced into new lifestyles. So I don't believe that the government assistance now will create that let us say that amount of people who will become dependent. I think they will, because I don't believe anybody enjoys being dependent on a system, because the system can crash anytime. You have to be self-sufficient. We have to start building better communities. That's how I see it. So we have to start being neighbors again. I have the coconut tree, you have the banana tree, the next neighbor have the leaf cassava, and we have to meet up somewhere and start to share. And we'll be healthier if we start to do those things. We'll be healthier on all levels, because we are to take care of ourselves by eating good. We are to have better relationships with our neighbors. So I feel like COVID. I believe that at the end, if we learn the lesson, COVID is doing something very good for us.
I think Miss Naomi is on.
Yes, Miss Naomi, are you hearing her, Jamal?
No, I'm not hearing her.
Miss Naomi, I'm seeing your lips move, but I can't. We're not hearing you. Can you check if your microphone is on again?
Mm.
I'm not
The
hearing
microphone is
her.
off.
Yeah, your microphone is off, Miss Naomi. You have to just go on the screen. I'm hearing her like a little bit, but
But in terms of the wider Stan Creek district, they have many people who are contributing to the food support, and that's one of the best thing I've seen in Stan Creek, is that people are honestly giving
trying
um,
to help each
the
other
support.
out.
Try to help
Yeah.
those who have and sustainable, who have disposable income to support,
Hmm.
and those who have farms and so are giving out to different people who don't have. But
Yeah.
it's time for us to think more sustainable in terms of land usage, and
Hmm.
that won't just come by force. It will have to come by force survival instincts, but it has to come by some effort being made to ensure that people are taught how to use the land. And because if we just left people to be just like that, and to just allow nature take over, create a perfect situation for the survival, this era.
I believe that people have information. We have the World Wide Web. We anything that we want to learn, we have it at our fingertips. We can pick up our phones and we can find. I've been noticing a lot of people now doing home gardening. Everybody, people are planting everything. People have small gardens on their verandas, in their yard. So we have it. We have the knowledge. Now on the larger scale, we'll have to have that community. We have to have that community collaboration to say, okay, this neighborhood will be in charge of doing this because their soil is more suitable for this kind of plants. But I think we have it. We have it. We just have to, it's just a mentality that feeding ourselves. There was this video when this guy said he was tired of eating banana and cassava, and that was so heartbreaking. How could you be tired of eating banana and cassava? That's you're eating what grows around you. You understand?
And that's good.
And that's what I say, that we have a mentality that we have to shift.
I don't know if y'all can hear me.
I can hear you now. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, good. Excellent segment. I'm trying to see if we can get Sister Naomi on.
I think
I
it's her
noticed that
microphone.
that Jamal logged off with camera. So before we go to the next break, I'm trying to see if we can get Sister Naomi back on with audio, because similar to what you had said earlier, was it could be the internet, it could be the number of us that may be on at the same time and may have our camera off. So since Jamal took his camera off, I'm encouraging Naomi, she had her camera on just now, to try to speak and see if we'll get the audio up with Naomi. And the Master Chief Operator, Krista Flores, is saying that she can see Naomi, but she's not
can
hearing
see
her
her
audio.
too.
Naomi is saying she has the audio on, so I'm not sure why. What we may have to do in the third segment, because we really want to get Naomi from the Toledo district, we really want to get her story heard. So far we've heard from, for those who may just be joining us, Sunday Review, adapting to the COVID-19 pandemic, is for this show and future shows. It may be every Sunday, I don't know. We're having a Belize Community COVID-19 report, where a space is being created for Belizeans, bottom up, would have a space where they may hear from different credible community workers within communities throughout Belize, other than party politics representatives, to share what's happening on the ground in their communities, where services are being matched with the needs, where people have been creative in identifying needs that may not be popular, but that is needed for that particular community. For us to say, listen, I've been calling numbers to these services that the state is offering, and I'm getting awesome feedback in real time, or I'm not. And so it becomes a space, it's for community members in Belize at home and abroad, where they can go and get information, because there's no such space until we've created this space moving forward. And so we've heard from Ruth Showman from the Corozal District. We've heard from Wendy Oxaloo from Kikaker. We've heard from Jamal Swazo from Dangriga, which would be in the Stann Creek District. And we're trying to get up on screen Naomi Pop from the Toledo District. We haven't been able to do that. Ellen Sue Joseph, who is originally from Dangriga, is our co-host this morning. We'll go ahead and take our second break of the morning. And when we return, we will continue this conversation.
SMART is fully prepared for the demands on our network to facilitate those working from home and for customers to continue communicate with friends and family. With the entire country at home, our team has pushed for more innovative services and promotions, like our double data, along with new ways of purchasing mobile services via our app and agents countrywide. SMART is proud to have dedicated staff working from home as well as out in the field to keep communication flowing. Customers can also follow our online fitness, science, comedy, and other great segments to continue being active at home. SMART has also sponsored the Ministry of Health free hotline, along with gifting all our frontline medical personnel a prepaid number with $50 credit to stay in contact in these times. Be assured we are with you, and look out for more weekly promotions on SMS, voice, and data. Be smart and be safe.
If you want to help save the world, sneeze into your elbow.
When you bank your way, it's amazing how much time you have to enjoy the more important things in life. You have time for priceless moments, time to indulge, time to unwind, time to take in the view, time to make memories. Use any of these services and have time for the things that matter most. Bank your way and enjoy the convenience. Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Be the hero the world needs right now. Wash your hands.
Your Belize City Council continues to work towards building a safer, healthier, and more efficient society for all residents to enjoy. The latest modification we've made is the installation of the new traffic light system at the corner of Neil Penn Road and Central American Boulevard. To ensure that the new system is risk-free for all citizens, we have prepared some traffic safety tips that should be kept in mind while traveling in the area. To our drivers, remember Neil Penn Road is now a one-way street, meaning it is illegal to turn left onto Neil Penn Road from the Central American Boulevard when driving in the direction of Cesar Ridge Road. It is illegal to turn right onto Neil Penn Road from the Central American Boulevard when driving in the direction of the Balkan Bridge. The Belize City Council, always about the people.
Patriots, all people who love them country bad, love them homeland, will never give it up to another nation. This happy we with a fear. Nobody do it to no Guatemala. Follow me now. This happy we with a fear. Nobody do it to no Guatemala. This time me name is Pupa. Belize me come from the Belize City area. 110% Belize and proud of it. So don't tell me patriots. All people who love them country bad, love them homeland, will never give it up to another nation. This happy we with a fear. Nobody do it to no Guatemala. Follow me now. This happy we with a fear. Nobody do it to no Guatemala. This time me name is Pupa. Belize me come from the Belize City area. 110% Belize and proud of it. So don't tell me patriots. All people who love them country bad, love them homeland, will never give it up to another nation.
Good morning and welcome to the final segment of Sunday Review for this morning, April 19, 2020. Sunday Review will now be the space where everyday people, credible people may participate as organizers, and then also a space where you can get information. We'll continue to build. It's a long-term commitment. It'll take a collective effort. We will go ahead and have, thanks, you're seeing Jamal Swaza right now on the screen, a youth organizer from Dagriga. We'll go ahead, Jamal, and see. I'll ask you to turn your camera off, Jamal, and see if we can bring up Naomi on camera. And since we're having difficulty getting Naomi to share her audio, what Naomi will be doing is that she is texting her information to us in the message section of Sunday on Skype. And I'll go ahead and read what Naomi is sharing with us. And I'm hoping that you can see Naomi on screen. So you can turn your camera off for me, please, Jamal. Keep your audio on, Jamal. And then Naomi, I'm asking for you to have your camera on. Naomi is saying, and I would encourage people to go to Facebook and click on Naomi's Facebook page so that you can see how it is that I got in contact with Naomi. Her name is Naomi Laura Pop, NayomiLaraPop. Naomi shared what her family has been doing even before COVID-19. And this is what Naomi is saying. As we see it in the Toledo district, we the Maya are affected to a certain extent, but it doesn't really affect our daily way of life. The police has been working with people due to the fact that they allow the people to use the rivers on a daily basis. The farmers are still able to go to the farm and continue their daily work. And I'm reporting from a text that Laura Pop from the Toledo district, Naomi Laura Pop from the Toledo district is sharing. Here in the village of San Pedro, Colombia, we need to thank the San Pedro Colombia Water Board, who has given the villagers free water for the month. And those are some of the things that, there is Naomi. You can see Naomi. We're not able to hear her audio, so she's typing for us what's happening in the Toledo district in the community where she is from, San Pedro, Colombia. Not San Pedro, Colombia. From, I believe it's San Pedro, Colombia that she's in. Yes. So correct me if I'm saying anything wrong, Naomi. You can text and let me know if I'm saying anything that is not correct. From what we've been gathering so far, we've had reports for sure from from individuals in the districts, in communities. It's not a comprehensive or holistic report representing every Belizean who live in those spaces. As we move forward, it is our intention to reach out to other credible community workers who may be working and leading as individuals. And then, Naomi to show herself. I love it, Naomi. I love it, sister. What Naomi did just now was she posted her text on the screen. I didn't know that we had that capability. A number of us are a number of us are learning how to, because we have to, how to engage in technology in ways that we may not have been receptive to learning before and are now willing to do that. So I didn't know that that could happen. Naomi just posted her text, the text that she just flashed on screen. This should teach us that embrace the old ways, where we teach our children to plant the land and raise their animals. I would also like for, before we still have another 20 minutes or so, I will ask our guests to please share how people may contact them, either on Facebook if they want to give out their telephone numbers. I'm thinking social media might be good right now because that's how I linked most of our people. I seen that you could write it on a piece of paper and show it, I guess, as well. And so, yes, I'm still waiting. Laura, if you could keep sharing your information and I'll keep reading it. So one of the beautiful things about this experience, listening to Ellen Sue and Jamal share just now, is that necessity is the mother of invention. And so a number of us are going back to tapping into what was shared with us, either orally or because we still live in communities who are still using the practices that our elders taught us, or because we're sheltered in, we are on social media and we're learning from other people around the world. WB has been very engaged with encouraging people to go back to the farm, go back to the soil, or just go to the soil if you never went to it before. And so that is very inspiring. As Belizeans, it's beautiful when we hear the positives. We're oftentimes overwhelmed with the negatives, or what we word or identify as the negatives, even if it's true in our community. So you hear a lot of people, including myself, saying that I no longer listen to the evening news. I choose to get the evening news through online sources where I can select the stories that I want to engage. Stories that are truthful, but are not draining of my energy. And instead, it uplifts me, makes me feel good. And so when I'm on Facebook and I see people posting pictures of what they have done as an individual, if it's gardening, if it's giving thanks to, thank you, Laura. So what Laura, she'll need to scroll, and let me read what else she said. She said, and we're talking to Laura from the South. This should teach us that embrace the old ways, where we teach our children to plant the land and raise their animals for them to consume. Myself as a single parent, it is difficult, but it takes a village to raise a child. I know many of us on the Toledo district aren't really sticking to the laws due to the fact that when we need to go to the farm, we need the grandparents to help us with our children. Excellent, Laura. I mean, Naomi. Naomi is continuing to type as we're having this conversation. And so the gathering of us as a people, our collective energy is important, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. Let me go ahead and turn my camera on and ask both Laura and Wendy to again re-engage in the conversation. Is if there's something you thought about that you didn't say when you were sharing before, or if from listening to the conversation is sparked an idea, please go ahead and rejoin us. Whenever an individual is speaking, we're asking for you to turn your if you're not speaking, to turn your camera off to allow the person who is speaking for their image to be shown. So I'll go ahead and turn my camera off. Ruth, you may rejoin the conversation. Please turn your camera on. Ruth, are you there?
Yes, I'm right here.
So you could go ahead and rejoin the conversation. Is there something else you'd like to share with us besides the wealth of information you've shared already?
Okay. Like I said, this is an ongoing project, and while I was on pause away from the camera, more ideas kept they kept coming, and I'm not sure if you know the villages of Copperbank, Chunosh were separated by a river and a ferry, and the ferry closes at 12, which isolates our people even further. And I was speaking to someone who has begun trading, and this is exactly what we were talking about. If we can go back to what we used to do, if we can trade what we are growing in our backyards with someone else, and we can start feeding each other.
Correct.
The idea of sewing cloth diapers, to help out these people. So ideas keep coming. And I love that the publicity talking about it is encouraging others to come together so that we can put our ideas together and be more innovative in order to be able to survive this COVID-19, and not only survive, but to change our ways in the future, to think outside the box. We need to, I put a question this morning, are we still going to be putting all our eggs in tourism and infrastructure? We need to understand the lesson that this COVID-19 has taught us. And we need to know that we need to change our ways. I agree that it takes a community, it takes a village to raise a child. And I must thank Corazal for coming out and showing that love. It has been constant. And I am hoping that the initiative that has started in small cells spreads so that we can reach out to everybody out there. And if you have an idea that you think can work, that you can share that with everybody so we can all engage in trying to reach out. We can't just sit down and wait to see what our government is going to do for us, but we need to also see what we can do for each other in order to progress as a community, and let it not be just for COVID-19, but for the future. Let's make it a way forward. We have been given a cold reality check, and I think we need to pause and reflect on the way we were operating, and we need to change that for the better.
Thanks. You were just listening to Ruth Showman from the Corozal district. She's an educator and an organizer from the Talida district. If you have any additional information you'd like to share with us. And just before you do, let me just share some more of what Naomi Laura Pop from the Toledo district has been sharing. For whatever reason, we've been unable to get her audio to work. Thanks so much, Ruth. Ruth, can you turn your camera off so we can see if we can get Laura's image to show on the screen? Thanks, Ruth. As I share what Naomi, Laura has been texting with us. And this is what Laura continues to share. As we see in the Toledo district, we the Maya are affected to a certain extent, but it doesn't really affect our daily way of life. The police has been working with the people due to the fact that they allow the people to use the rivers on a daily basis. The farmers are still able to go to farm and continue their daily work. Here in the village of San Pedro, Colombia, we need to thank the San Pedro Colombia Water Board, who has given the villagers free water for the month. This should teach us that embrace the always, where we teach our children to plant the land and raise their animals for them to consume. Myself as a single parent, it is difficult, but it takes a village to raise a child. I know many of us in the Toledo district aren't really sticking to the laws due to the fact that when we need to go to the farm, we need the grandparents to help us with our children. It is sad to hear that people aren't appreciated what is given to them. We must must give thanks for what is given to us. I do hope that this will teach to the government to invest more in the agriculture sector. We need to get over this together as a community. And those are the words, and she continues, I'm sure that many in the Toledo district aren't feeling this COVID due to the extreme fact that we work the land. And so what we're hearing is how, even though many of us knew that people who have remained on the land and have been working the land, that's how they live on a regular basis before COVID-19. During this pandemic, we're having a greater appreciation for how important the people who feed us are, the people who oftentimes are not given credit, and oftentimes what they do is not valued, like what some may say would be the professional careers. And you hear this even in the national media, that the people that the imperialist, capitalist, Western concept would recognize and give respect to, who are professionals, who went to school and got degrees or certification, are not the most important people right now outside of your frontline workers, for example, your doctors and your nurses and those in the medical field. What we're seeing is that the people that are the everyday people, the blue collar workers, people who may have certification or training within the technical system, like your trade schools. Those are the people who are ensuring that we're alive right now. So you have your farm workers, you have people who provide public service, maybe they're working within the government. You have people who have the skill set and are choosing to engage their communities. And it's to say that everyone has something they can give for us to survive as Belizeans. Let me go ahead and ask Wendy Oxalu. Thanks again, Naomi, for continuing to engage us from the Toledo district. Let me go ahead and ask Wendy Oxalu from Kikocker. Wendy, are you there?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
I'll go ahead and turn my camera off and I'll turn my mic off.
Yeah.
This conversation and you first shared with us.
Yes, I didn't hear your question just now, but I would like to just first of all share that all the initiatives that are on Kikocker, that are happening on Kikocker, they're 100% community driven. The government literally disappeared on us. We haven't seen our area representative from before the first confirmed case. I think once tourism started to drop on his ministry, our area representative is the Minister of Tourism. Once the tourism started to drop and there was no revenue coming in from his ministry, he just basically became unable to help us. So this is all 100% community driven. And I would like to just highlight some of the initiatives, maybe just to give encouragement to other communities, and maybe they can find some of this information useful. But number one, we have a group page, a Facebook group page, community Facebook group page. And I myself am the administrator, I'm the admin for one of those pages called Kikocker Info. And via that medium, we are able to disseminate information to many people very swiftly. So I think that's a good way if you're trying to get information out to people. That's a good way to get it out. Some of the other community initiatives are, here's Yaya asking me some, okay. Here's, second of all, we have a large expat community that lives here in Kikocker. Some of them have permanent residence, some of them don't. And the ones that don't, they need to visit the immigration office regularly to get their passports stamped and updated. And they haven't been able to do that since we've been under lockdown, basically. It's been a number of weeks. So some of those stamps have expired, and we have one expat in the community. Her name is Sher Mungovan, and I'd like to, give a shout out to her. She's been collecting names of all the people that need stamps, their passport information, when their stamps expired, and she's been passing that information out to the immigration department. I think so far she's had more than 100 people that need immigration services, and so at least immigration office is up to date with with what who's here on the island, basically. Uh, our, I don't know if you know, but here in Kikaker, we don't have any hospitals. We have a very basic health center. I think it's staffed by one nurse and one doctor. There's one nurse and one doctor, and so we've literally in fact there's a very popular sign that's always photographed by tourists here on the island, and we have 3 cemeteries and 0 hospitals. So we've literally to build our health infrastructure from scratch. And in addition to our public health services, which consists of the nurse and a doctor, basically, that's supplied by the public service, the public health department. We have a private doctor on the island. We're very fortunate that our chair lady is a health professional. She's a licensed pharmacist. And I would like to shout out 2 volunteer nurses that we have on the island that are expats, actually. They're trained licensed nurses abroad. And long before COVID was something that was talked about, became a real thing here in Belize, they had registered to volunteer as nurses here on our island. And we're very grateful for them because they complement what the public service can afford to provide to us here on this island. We've had tour guides act as our community of tour guides on this island, the ones that are resident here. They've acted as lookouts around the perimeter of the island to make sure that while we're under quarantine, that unapproved boats are not bringing unapproved, people to the island that are not supposed to be here. So we've had that community spirit as well. We've had, let's see, because a lot of the hotels are empty right now, the hoteliers or tourism businesses have donated hotel rooms for the BDF, for the Coast Guard and the people that have been assigned to our island. We do have the soup kitchen and other community groups, including the Chinese, the Chinese merchants on Kikaker, who have been donating grocery supplies to these frontline workers like the Coast Guard and the police department and the nurses, basically. So we've been able to supply them with food so that they can focus on the job that's more important, the priority, which is keeping our island safe. We've had, let's see, organizations like the BTIA compile a list of all the hotels and restaurants that are doing takeout and deliveries, and they put together a list of the names and phone numbers so that people don't have to leave their homes. We can just refer to the list, and that's very helpful and useful. They can just find a number on the list very quickly and call someone and have food and groceries delivered right to your home. There's no need to move away. We've had local people, just regular people on the island, start sewing face masks back at the beginning of the whole COVID crisis. I think there were, the entire health system on Kikaker had exactly 3 N95 masks. If you know what the N95 masks, they're the masks that the health workers, the frontline workers use when they deal with COVID patients. Can you imagine to have only 3 of those, exactly 3 of those assigned to Kikaker? It was crazy. Anyway, apart from 95 masks, the masks that we're encouraged to use are called surgical masks. And so we've had people on Kikaker, locals, that they've just literally started sewing these face masks and just donating them to the health professionals or just disseminating them in the community. Our local villagers, they've banded together and they've built hospital beds and created our own makeshift hospital here in Kikaker. Remember, this is all community driven. It's not coming from the health service. So they've built hospital beds, built a makeshift hospital, built a makeshift triage center. Staff these, just the village council has paid, for example, for the mattresses for these hospital beds and that kind of thing, but it's all community driven. The soup kitchens, we have soup kitchens operating at this time, and they're all being manned and staffed by volunteers, island volunteers. And many of these are expats, so I have to give out a shout out to them as well. The expats, they have contacts abroad, and so they're able to raise donations a lot quicker and a lot more swiftly. They have access to GoFundMe and Facebook fundraisers, that kind of thing. So they're able to raise funds a lot more swiftly than us that don't have access to those things are be able to do. And they're definitely filling an incredible void on this island because I can't tell you the amount of people they feed daily, between the three of them. And there's another young lady on this island, a local girl by the name named Jessica Marin, who saw a need for young mothers with babies, and she started what she called the Keycocker Baby Pantry, or a pantry to raise, to get donations of diapers and baby wipes and baby formula, anything for babies basically. And she successfully, just yesterday, successfully delivered packages to 30 new moms with babies under 2 years old. And I think that's pretty amazing. So, oh, and then we have this another fisherman, and I'd like to call these people's names because they're so inspirational, who goes by the name of, this fisherman by the name of Ziz Novello. He and another fisherman who I don't know the name of, to be honest. They went out fishing yesterday, and their catch was bountiful. And it was amazing, incredible. They just had literally a whole table full of fishes, and they, instead of trying to sell it to the Northern Fishermen's Cooperative, they probably could have gotten money for that. Nope. What did they do? They went out and just donated it to the needy people in the community. What I've come to realize on this island is that Kikaka people have heart. Heart and soul. This is a community that has literally banded together to make sure that we emerge from this crisis with the least injury to our community possible. And because of that, I tell you, it brings tears to my eyes when I see these new initiatives going up, because nobody. These are just normal, average people that are just coming up with these great ideas and making it work for us. So I hope the takeaway is that we can, with the suggestions or with promoting what some of the initiatives that are being done here in Kikaker, that other communities may be able to follow suit and maybe find some of them useful.
Excellent, Wendy Oxaloo from Kikaker, and of people, as long as they're comfortable with it, so that we can say, we have to big up ourselves. We know our worth, and we're saying with humility that this is the work that we're doing in our community. One correction, there are no expats. They're immigrants like all other people who leave their country and come to live in other people's country. So thanks for that report, Wendy. Let's go to Naomi. Naomi has been, she continues to share via text. And Naomi is from, I believe, from San Pedro, Colombia, in the Toledo district. And she continues by saying that for the time being, she has been breaking corn, getting rice and corn from the plantation ready, have a nursery that is going, which I will turn half of it into a garden. As a farmer, I still continue harvesting my cacao on a weekly basis so that the world will have chocolate after this. Also, I am planting my land with cassava, cocoa, plantain, turmeric, pepper, and crops. Salute to Naomi. She also said, I do hope that we continue living in peace after this and that money isn't everything. So you can see Naomi Laura Pop from San Pedro, Colombia, in the Toledo district on your screen. We weren't able to get her audio to work. We'll be working on that as we move forward, but that did not stop us from still engaging Laura, and we greatly appreciate it, Laura. I would be held accountable, as I should, if I don't take this opportunity to promote Harmonyville. It's not the only communal agricultural community, because we have, for example, the Mennonite community, I believe maybe going on 60 years, who are really the breadbasket in this country in many ways. And we've heard them crying about the challenges that they're facing, as many other businesses, large and small scale business owners, have been complaining about the impact of COVID-19 on their revenue or not having that income stream. So I have to big up two sets of farmers. We have both David Barnett, and he's planting. I saw this morning he posted for Harmonyville. He has planted in the ground cassava, in the ground cocoa on the way. And I know both at Country Dream Farm, two of our Harmonyville community members, Kirk Garnett and Stephanie, they're also showing the work that they're doing. And are making available the things that they are planting at a reasonable price. So even for some people who may be doing the bartering, there are others who are charging because they need to have some stream of income still coming in. And so, but what they're charging is at a reasonable cost. So both Stephanie and Kirk, if you go on Facebook, there's Country Dream Farm Produce, and they're showing what it is that they are planting, and people are showing and sharing some homemade remedies, ginger and whatever else that they may be adding together to help strengthen the immune system. So thanks so much, Laura, for joining us. We appreciate your input. We value you as a sister and as a farmer. We really do, sister. To be honest, I shared your post. I don't necessarily read everything that I share on Crim Sunday Review timeline. I contacted Will Mahia asking for a recommendation, and he shared that Dr. Bernard Bulwa had done a write-up on what you shared on Facebook. I definitely have to remember to big up Creme TV's new product, Creme Plus. We're encouraging you to go to YouTube and input Creme Plus and then subscribe. Moz Hyde is interviewing Belizeans for at least an hour. We have 6 episodes so far. What's different with this new space for Creme Television is that you're getting a different programming from what you get on Creme Television. And because the focus right now, and rightly so, is on COVID-19, is done extensive interviews with Belizeans from different perspectives. So we have had Dr. Bernard Bulwa, he's had Imani Fairweather, who is a Belizean who lives in Switzerland. We've had our brother Irvin Paris giving economic input. We had recently, as yesterday, as our brother Buddy Brown, a Belizean who has survived COVID-19. And so these are some of the people that Mose Hyde has interviewed. And so we're encouraging Belizeans to please go and subscribe to Creme Plus on YouTube. We have to go. We're a little over time, but we have to keep going. Thanks, Laura, for being with us. I'll ask Laura if she can turn her camera off and ask Jamal Swazo, a youth organizer from Dangriga Tong in the Stan Creek district. Jamal, I'll turn my camera off as well. If you could please share additional thoughts or information that you may not have shared when you were on earlier.
Yes, you hearing me?
Yes.
All right. So right now, I would like to say thanks to the people who are doing work in Dangriga right now, who are productive right now. They have the Feed the People program. We have Miss Denise Henry. We also have Gerald Henry, Erica Jang, Fiesa Bane, Carolyn Molina, Abis Picasso, and Jason Guerrero and myself, who are doing a feeding program with contribution from various people in the town and also from the diaspora, from the Belizean Americans who are from Dangriga that live in the States, who are doing GoFundMe and sending support to Dangriga. And also I'd like to thank people like Major Swaso, who are trying to do this herbalist, changing people to be more self-sustainable and to enable them to after this, to plant their land and work their herbs and go back to the farm and use the land that we have and use your property to feed yourself. And I would also like to say thanks to everybody who are contributing into Dangriga to stay beyond this point, and that my fellow residents of Dangriga would like to say that after this, we have to revisit our plan, our economic plan, our survival plan, because this has shown that weaknesses within our society and our community that we could have prevented if we had taken a different approach prior to this COVID-19 and this economic crisis. Thanks.
Oh, nice.
That's it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, thanks. Sorry about that. I'm getting used to turning on this mic on and off. Ellen Sue Joseph has been our co-host this morning. Ellen, your final thoughts?
Yes, I just want to tell people that they have to change their mentality of what food is. reduce their consumption, conserve on electricity and water, spend more time with family, and don't just be present, but interact. You know, read and play with your children, checking on the elderly, self-care, especially to the black women, because I've noticed a lot of they're making fun of how black women, the hair, the state of the hair, the state of the nails. So just, you know, women, black women, self-care. You have all the time to soak your foot, for wash your hair, for fix up yourself. So don't make nobody try get we down and think that we look shabby because nail shops not open. We don't need nail shops, we don't need salons. We're naturally beautiful. Just start to appreciate who you are more in this time of COVID, and, you know, love yourself.
Salute to that, sister. There are so many challenges that many of us, and the country of Belize, our population is primarily brown and black people, the majority of us. And so it's because we were not taught African and indigenous stories in our church state school systems, many of us don't know who we are. And so we've been living by the definition that the oppressor left in system and places for us. So here's an opportunity for us to, for those who can. Many of us, because we live in inadequate homes, we live in homes that are not healthy homes. We may not have healthy relations with our blood family. And so for many families, our realities are different and have been different for generations. So it's not realistic. It's a very, very difficult time for many of our family members to be in the same spaces now that we are forced to shelter in with our family members. These are difficult conversations to have, yet they're true. The people who we ought to feel the safest with are not.
We're not.
And we are not a group of people who speak these hard truths in private or in public.
True.
And so we're uncomfortable to be in spaces with some of our blood family right now. And because many of us are born in impoverished circumstances, maybe the space is just a small space. I've had reports even before COVID-19 of family members who, the reason why they hang out is because the physical space is small.
Limited, yeah.
There are many people who do not have refrigerator, stoves, bathrooms. People may be surprised how many Belizeans are using plastic bags to stool in and throwing it in an empty lot. What it means to be sheltered in right now. And I'm not making up stories. I'm saying what is the truth, that there's shame and stigma attached to people who are living in impoverishment. And so I'm asking Belizeans who, even though you may not know of people who are living like this, to open your hearts to genuinely listen without judgment, to see people as human beings, to genuinely care, and to share not just because you have a surplus. Some of the kindest people I know are people who are most impoverished because they're not sharing because they have a surplus. They don't. They don't have enough for their families. Yet they still share. They still give. They're not eating because they're belly full. They cook a pot of food and they're giving. And so this is, we really want to applaud Belizeans who are giving, who are caring. And so to sign off, we want to say you can continue to look forward to these gatherings of Belizean people at home and abroad. Having Skype off opens up the opportunity for us to reconnect, to strengthen our connections with Belizeans abroad, especially grassroots people. There's a space for professionals to share. We're really encouraging grassroots people to, if you don't speak English, beautiful. Speak in the language from your heart that you're most comfortable with. There's no judgment in this space. and that we want to move it from only online to offline, where we have, it was, I thought about this idea when I was incarcerated in 2009. I've heard most promoting the idea in WB and others are saying, listen, whatever street you live on, you could create a WhatsApp group for that street if you want, and check in on your families, check in on your neighbors, and find out if their needs are being fulfilled. And then our intentions are, it's a big initiative to create a database so that we know what the needs are of Belizeans in every household, and make an effort to match the services with the needs of Belizeans in those households. Strictly grassroots up, from the ground up. And so I want to thank you, Sue, for being our co-host this morning. Thank our guests who were Ruth Showman, an organizer in the Corozal district, Wendy Oxalu, an organizer in Kikoker, Jamal Swazo, a youth organizer in Dangriga Tongue in the Stan Creek district. And let me check and see if Naomi Laura had any final thoughts. She said, I do hope we continue living in peace after this, that money isn't everything. Thank you so much, Naomi Laura Pop from San Pedro Columbia District, in the San Pedro Columbia Village in the Toledo District. Thank you, thank you, thank you, our Master Chief Operator, Krista Flowers at Creme Television. As people know, Creme Television in particular, have been struggling even before COVID-19 pandemic. And so the strain is even greater on the handful of employees that work with Creme Television. We're asking more for employees, and we're not getting full pay because advertising dollars is what pays our employees. And so we encourage people to continue to support Cremandala products overall. As you can see, Amandala has gone from 50 something, 40 something pages Friday issue, which was one of our biggest issues, to 20 something this past week. And so Creme Radio is not broadcasting Sunday Review right now because there's nobody in the Creme Radio station. A number of our Creme Radio programming is being done from home because we're being true to social distancing. So I'm saying to people who support Cremandala products, and it's always been, as our elder Evan X. Hyde has said, we survive based on the energy of Belizean people. We appeal even more to our Belizean people to continue to engage Cremandala products. We have faith because we've survived so long because of Belizean people, those at home and those abroad. So as we adjust to this new reality, going to Creme Plus and YouTube, we're asking you to subscribe to Creme Plus and Creme Sunday Review. We're shifting to creating this Belize community COVID-19 report on Sunday mornings. We will learn how to master this space so we can have more people join us via Skype. And so we hope to be here again next Sunday. Thank you again so much, Christy Flowers, who has been, I was a little frustrated. Christy's phone died on her. So if there's someone who would like to donate a smartphone to Krista Flowers, that would be greatly appreciated. Krista didn't know I was going to say that. But based on the work that she does, it's so important for her to have a smartphone that works. Not a smart as in smart and BTL phone provider, but a smartphone that allows you access to the internet is what I mean when I say if someone would like to donate a smartphone. And I'm being very transparent in what our needs are, and so we can ask. And so thanks so much, Belizean people overall. Salute to Belizean people at home and abroad. Even though we may not mention your name, Belizean people, we're so, so proud of us as a collective for coming together and unifying to make sure that as many of us survive with our dignity intact. Until next Sunday, enjoy the rest of your day.
bad love them homeland. We'll never give it up to another nation. This a fi we, we da fear. Nobody give it to no Guatemala. Follow me now. This a fi we, we da fear.